First bow to heaven and earth. Second bow to the parents.
Unbelievable. I heard her old man, to save their jade shop, took the Laytons' money and forced his daughter to marry for luck. Everyone knows Edward Layton is terminally ill and won't last a few days.
Third bow to each other. Ceremony complete!
If this luck marriage fails, and Edward still won't wake up, what should we do?
Who are you? Why are you in my bed?
I am your wife. We're already married.
I can just have this marriage annulled.
I married you to bring you luck, and now I am the one who saved your life. If this marriage is annulled, doesn't that mean I stole a life from heaven for you? Since I saved you, are you going to let me take the punishment for you?
Since we can't annul it, then you sleep on the floor. My heart already belongs to someone else. I won't touch you.
That works for me.
I've heard that Edward Layton has a beloved childhood sweetheart, Lydia Hurst. But when her family fell, they were forced apart. The one in his heart must be Lydia Hurst. In that case, I can peacefully be a marriage in name only.
Is it ready? Be careful! Drink it now. Stop carving. You've been married for a year. Why aren't you pregnant yet?
Edward and I haven't even shared a bed. If I were pregnant, that would be a miracle.
You must get pregnant. Pretty soon it is the new year. By then, during family visits, they'll all ask me about a grandson. Where am I supposed to hide my face?
I'll do it.
Hurry up!
Just endure it a bit longer. Once the bride price is paid off, and I've mastered jade carving, I'll find a chance to divorce Edward and escape this prison.
This potion tastes way worse than the last one.
I went through a lot of trouble to get this. It is a twin placenta, soaked in herbs for a whole month.
Miss, why do this to yourself? This is nothing. Only by marrying into the Laytons will Father pass down his jade carving craft to me. If the marriage fails, everything I've endured will be for nothing. Why are you crying? Miss, let's go buy some candied fruit. It is raining again. Madam makes you drink that stuff all day. Let's buy extra candied fruit, okay? Help! Thief! Thank you, sir.
Go find out who she is. And take this guy to the authorities.
Yes, sir. Shouldn't we head to the Laytons?
It has been a few years. Never thought you'd be married, Edward. Don't make fun of me, Charles. With my sickly body, I don't know how long I can last. If my family hadn't taken advantage of my coma and married me off to a wife, I would never have married her. I still only have Lydia in my heart. There is no room for Helen.
It is her. I never thought she'd be Edward's wife. It is him.
You two know each other.
What a coincidence. I was out on the street, and my purse was stolen. Luckily, this gentleman stepped in to help, so I got it back.
I see.
Here.
Helen is such a gem. Too bad Edward cares for someone else.
It is getting late. I will come back another day.
It is cold outside. Let me see you out. All right.
Thank you. Thanks for your hospitality.
Take care, Mr. Shaw.
Have the guards watch Helen. Everything about her, every single detail, you must report to me.
What do you mean, Mr. Charles? Isn't she Edward's wife?
So what? I'm going back to the academy tomorrow. I won't be back this month. You can sleep in the bed then.
Mother told me this afternoon that the Williams twins are turning a month old. She asked both of us to go and bring some good luck. If you are going back, I'll just tell her no.
What exactly did my mother promise you for you to put up with this? When is it?
The day after tomorrow.
Got it.
Miss Helen, something happened. Kevin got into a fight outside. He broke someone's leg. I heard he got hurt too. That family is going to the authorities.
Miss Stonewell,
Mr. Charles.
you seem to be in a hurry. If you don't mind, I can give you a ride. A horse is faster.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Be careful.
Stop hitting him!
Stop it!
Where'd this pretty little lady come from? Can't you take a hint? Mind your own business. Get the hell out.
Helen, why didn't you bring Edward? We need a man to handle this.
What is your connection to Stonewell Jewelers?
I am Kevin Stonewell's sister.
Such a pretty face. If you treat us guys right, we'll spare this shop for today. Who are you people? What is your business? Your brother broke our young master's leg, and now you dare hit us. Boys, get him! Who the hell are you, meddling in Mr. Sunfield's business?
Mr. Sunfield, even top officials in Riverside City have to show him respect. If he wants to lock Kevin up for 10 years or so, I am afraid there's nothing we can do. You are going too far. My brother hitting someone was his fault. We'll just pay you back. But you beating people here, how is it any different from local thugs?
Just wait for your brother to rot in jail, and you... Let's go! Take a message to Mr. Sunfield. Tell him I, Charles Shaw, will pay him a visit soon. I want to see if Mr. Sunfield has any respect for the law. He is the newly appointed Dragon Guard commander.
He is the new Dragon Guard commander. I heard right after he took office, he beat the old commander half to death. He also took the wealth he extorted from folks and returned it all. Mr. Charles, thank you.
Not at all. Edward and I are good friends. Once I knew your family was in trouble, I couldn't just sit back.
This is bad. All these broken jades, how are we going to pay for this? Our savings are not enough.
Forget about that. Right now, we need to get the money to bail Kevin out.
Dad, Mom, if we don't have enough to pay, let's borrow some from the bank. Don't worry, I will safely bring Kevin back.
Okay.
Mr. Charles, sorry you had to see this. If you are planning to visit them tomorrow, could I bring a small gift and go with you?
That sounds good. After all, I am an outsider. That jade pendant, is it spoken for?
That jade pendant was from when I learned to carve. It was my first piece. It is not finished, and the material is rough. It is not for sale.
If you feel, Miss Stonewell, that I was of some help today, could you perhaps gift it to me?
Well, we still have a few fine jade stones at home. If you like, Mr. Charles, then I'll have my dad carve another. Once it is finally polished, we can give that to you.
I actually think it is quite cute. It won my heart. I want this one.
Mr. Charles, my men, they lack manners. Yesterday, they offended you. Please forgive them.
No harm done.
May I ask about your relationship with that gem shop?
Just passing by.
That is great. Excellent.
Greetings, Mr. Sunfield. My little brother was foolish and lacked manners. He hurt young Master Sunfield. My father injured his hand, and my mother is caring for him. So I came on their behalf to visit and apologize.
Just a simple apology, and you think it is over?
For his medical expenses, the Stonewells will pay in full. I hope you can be generous and forgive him. Here is a small gift from us.
You little shrew! Just shut your mouth. You think I am desperate, like I care about your lousy pennies. Let me tell you, whichever leg my son broke, your brother will break the same one. And what is more, he'll be locked up for a few years.
If you won't accept her apology, then tell me, how should we resolve this?
Mr. Charles, this little shrew. No, is Miss Stonewell close friend? Mr. Charles, I can't let this go.
It happens that I know a specialist in the capital city who is highly skilled at treating bone diseases. Perhaps he can heal young Master Sunfield back to normal. Please, Mr. Sunfield, show some mercy. Consider it a favor I owe you.
Since you've spoken, Mr. Charles, there is no way I'd ever refuse you. In a few days, I'll send my men to the magistrate's office to get Miss Stonewell's brother out of there.
No need to trouble yourself, Mr. Sunfield. I'll pass by the office on my way back. Just write the settlement letter, and I'll go pick him up.
I am supposed to meet Edward today, at the Williams at noon, if I don't show up.
How does this arrangement sound?
Thank you for your generosity, Mr. Sunfield. Please accept this gift from the Stonewells.
Mr. Edward, there is an emergency at Helen's. She can't make it today. She sent me to tell you.
What happened?
Yesterday, Helen's brother broke the leg of young Master Sunfield. She went to their house today to apologize.
Young Master Sunfield studies at the academy in our home. Why didn't she ask me for help?
It has already been settled. Helen has to go to the magistrate's office to pick him up today. That is why she can't make it.
Settled. Did Charles Shaw help?
Thank you for your help today, Mr. Charles. When my husband returns, we will definitely pay you a visit.
No need to be so formal, Miss Stonewell. Edward and I are like brothers, if you really want to thank me. You can do me a favor. How about it?
Please go ahead, Mr. Charles.
My mother in the capital sent many portraits of women to arrange a match for me. It gives me a headache. However, I have indeed reached the age for marriage, so I want to grant her wish and find a good match. But she is rushing me, wanting a reply in a few days, and I'll be in Riverside City for quite some time. With no elders around here, I'd like to ask you, Miss Stonewell, to help me pick one.
Marriage is a lifelong commitment. This favor, I am afraid I cannot help with.
Actually, I am not desperate to marry. I just envy Edward. That is what gave me the idea of getting married. I can't stay a bachelor forever.
They say the noblemen in the capital lead extravagant and debauched lives. Boys have maids warming their beds in their teens, and households keep singers and dancers. This Charles Shaw probably has plenty of beautiful companions. How can I possibly choose for him?
I am just a merchant's daughter, with little insight. The portraits your mother sent are all of noble ladies. As far as I can tell, they are all excellent.
Since you are unwilling, Miss Stonewell, let's just forget it.
Mr. Charles, I'll take my leave.
Your brother is out of prison.
He has already been sent home. I made you come all this way for nothing. I am truly sorry.
Riverside's new battalion commander sure is much more useful than a guy who runs an academy.
As for what happened today, Mr. Rowan just happened to pass by. I am guessing it is because of his friendship with you that he decided to meddle in this business.
Because of me? He is the youngest son of Lord Rowan, from a prestigious family. He only studied at my house for a year. He is arrogant by nature and lacks discipline. He hates being tied down. He wouldn't even take the imperial exam. His family arranged for him to marry Princess Joanna, but he refused. Me? I don't have that much influence over him.
If you don't like it, then I won't associate with him anymore.
Evelyn, if you are divorced for adultery, the jades you carved will be tainted. Who would buy them?
We are innocent. I know you are not happy with me. On our wedding day, you were anxious to cancel this marriage. Today you just want to fall out. If you find this life unbearable, just divorce me, but don't throw dirty water on me.
Don't you forget, back then, you were the one who refused to divorce.
I originally planned to make some money this year to pay back the dowry, and then divorce him. But because of my brother, our family savings are practically gone.
Since you don't want a divorce, and I can't find Lily, I might as well live with you. Today, we consummate our marriage.
So, let me go. Oh, let go. Let go. Mr. Sterling! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Mr. Charles is here!
Please, come in. Edward, I passed by yesterday and heard Miss Stonewall's family had a little trouble. For your sake, I lent a hand. On my way home, I got her brother out of jail and sent him home. Edward, there is no need to worry. Helen already told me. Some other day, I'll drop by to say thanks. Hearing you were home, Edward, I thought I'd come and invite you personally. I just came back from the capital city, and I am throwing a housewarming banquet. I'd like to get everyone together. I hope you, Edward. Helen. What do you think? All right. I'll definitely bring Helen. Go find someone for me.
Yes, Mr. Charles.
Lydia Hurst, Edward Layton's old flame. After her family fell, she was sold to the Imperial Workshop. She should be hiding in some Red Lantern house. Once you find her, at my housewarming banquet.
Yes, sir.
If you are so against it, why insist on taking me?
It is not that I am against it. I just want to remind you to know your place.
Helen, time for your medicine.
If she can't have kids, I'll just marry someone who can. Why go through all this trouble? Let me divorce her and send her home.
Absolutely not. I chose her out of the whole city. Her birth chart brings you luck, the master said. Marrying her will keep you alive. If later she can give birth to a Layton heir, it will even ensure your health. Helen Stonewell, it seems to me you act so innocent normally, but you are actually quite wicked. You despise our family because Edward is weak, so you coaxed him into a divorce. Let me tell you, you are the bride the Laytons spent a fortune to marry. Even if Edward takes a concubine, you'll just have to deal with it. If you dare to divorce him, I swear I'll make sure Stonewell Jewelers in Riverside City goes out of business.
I thought since Edward agreed, I just had to return the gifts. I didn't expect it to be this complicated.
Enough, Mother! If you hadn't seen the hearse fall and driven Lydia away, would I have been so furious that I fell into a coma?
You used our marriage to trick your father out of the jade carving secrets meant only for sons. So now, why can't you use yourself one more time? With Charles Shaw stepping in, the divorce is guaranteed. It is a win-win for both of us.
How do you know it was my father who taught me how to carve jade?
They say Helen brings you luck, and it is true. You had one foot already in the grave, yet now you are perfectly fine.
As for my health, I know it well. I am afraid my days are numbered. As her father, how could you marry your young daughter to someone like me? Do you want her to be a widow forever?
Don't worry, Mr. Edward. Helen doesn't care about this. Marrying you to trade the dowry for the Stonewell's ancestral jade carving skills was a fair deal for her. If you feel guilty, just let her carve jade. That is all.
Look at this play. As expected of the troupe Mr. Charles hired, this lady named Rose Autumn has an unhappy marriage. Her husband doesn't love her, and her in-laws bully her. Luckily, she met Mr. William, so she divorced her husband to remarry. Mr. Charles is so handsome and elegant, so refined and bright. If this Mr. Charles could be like Mr. William in the play and fall for me, then I would be willing to divorce and remarry too. Don't you agree, Helen?
Mr. William seduces a married woman. I just think his character is vile. He is hardly an honorable man.
Helen looks so pretty and smart. But why is she acting like a piece of wood? Helen, I need to use the restroom. Could you go with me?
Bravo! Beautiful dancing!
This Lydia Hurst used to be Governor Hurst's daughter.
Enough, Mother! If you hadn't driven Lydia away because her family fell from grace, would I have passed out from sheer anger?
The governor was ousted, and she was sold off. But somehow, she recently returned to Riverside City. Who knows which gentleman she has got her eye on now? Wait for me here. I'll be right back.
Put me down. Let me go. Let
Stop
go.
moving. Move again, and they'll see us. Looks like a sprain. Does it hurt?
Thank you, Mr. Charles. Could you please go and get my husband for me?
I've sent someone to notify him, but Edward is probably tied up with something else. About earlier, If you felt offended, I apologize.
I know. You were just trying to help. You acted out of chivalry. Thank you.
Is it possible that holding her just now made her a little shy?
Mr. Charles, here is the medicine.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. I can do it myself.
All right. I'll be right outside. Call me if you need me. You are hurt this badly, yet still acting tough.
Mr. Charles, I can do it myself.
I carried you all the way here. A few minutes won't hurt. Don't worry, Miss Stonewall. Once I am done, I will leave. You shouldn't walk right now. I had the servants prepare some food for you. Edward should be done and come find you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Mr. Charles, something bad happened.
Speak.
Mr. Edward drank at the banquet, and his old illness flared up.
I'll go see him.
I'll come with you.
Miss Stonewall, please let Edward and me be together. Madam, Edward and I truly love each other. We were betrothed before birth. But my family fell into ruin, and we were forced apart. To be reunited now, it must be heaven taking pity on us. Please let me marry him. I will bear children for the Laytons.
Right now, this is a good chance to make Victor Shaw give up.
If that were really true, between the two of you, I wouldn't have been able to step in. You ask for my blessing now, but how can I? Even his life was saved by me. If I didn't love him, who would have married him on his deathbed? You can marry him, if you wake him up and have him tell me himself.
Edward doesn't love her at all. How could she possibly have such deep feelings for him?
Miss Stonewall, I beg you. Once I marry in, I won't fight with you. All I ask is to be by Edward's side. Just a place to stay. I beg of you. I beg of you. Please.
I could never share my bed and my husband with anyone. Get out. Don't make me hit you. Oh, my hands carved stone. If I slap you, that face you are so proud of will be completely ruined.
Oh, Lydia, don't go.
I am here. I am right here.
Why don't you stay the night here? I'll send someone to the Layton residence.
With those two here, how can I stay?
You can avoid it today, but tomorrow, won't you still have to face it?
In Edward's heart, there is only Lydia Hurst. It is not like I just found out today. It is not him I am running from. It is you. As for tomorrow, we'll deal with it then. Thank you, Mr. Charles. I will take my leave now.
Helen, you are so full of pride. Yet in the Layton family, you compromise to survive. After all these years, I want to see how much longer you can last.
Huh, where is Edward?
Edward is staying out tonight. He won't be back.
If he is staying out, why aren't you by his side taking care of him?
Edward and Lydia Hurst are out there, having an affair. Am I supposed to stand by and cheer them on?
Let me tell you, Helen Stonewell, you were bought by our family for a hefty sum. Even if you die, you will die in our Layton family tomb. Don't think that throwing mud at Edward will get you a divorce.
Don't you know that all these years, the only one Edward cares about is Lydia Hurst?
Nonsense. Back then, Lydia Hurst climbed the social ladder and broke off the engagement, breaking Edward's heart. Later, when the Hurst family fell, Lydia was sold to the Red Lantern House. Edward was kind enough to want to buy her freedom, but he was brutally beaten into a coma. If Lydia Hurst, that little bitch, is really with Edward, you go right now and bring him back to me.
But back then, weren't you the one who drove Lydia Hurst away first?
The Hurst family is ruined, and now this Lydia suddenly remembers Edward. How could I possibly let her in at a time like this? Go! Bring him back to me!
Madam, the young master sent a message. He went back to the academy. For the next few days, a great scholar is lecturing, so he won't be coming back.
He sobered up that fast.
Charles Shaw in Capital City probably has had countless women. He is an expert at playing these mind games. I absolutely must not fall into his trap.
Ma'am, Mr. Charles is here.
Edward isn't home today. Tell him to come back another day.
Mr. Charles said something happened at the shop.
What?
We recently took on a huge order. Because of your brother, we planned to cancel it and return double the deposit, but they refused. If we still want to cancel, we have to pay 10,000 taels of silver.
I asked the lawyer. It is true.
Just recently, because of my brother, I paid some silver. Where would I find that much money now?
I'll figure something out.
Thank you, but I won't trouble you, Mr. Charles.
Maybe we should let Charles help. What other choice do we have?
Mom, how can you call Mr. Charles just Charles?
Charles said, he is your husband's friend. Calling him Mr. Charles is way too formal.
Miss Stonewell, you wouldn't hold a grudge over what happened yesterday, would you? I was just eager to save someone. Please forgive me.
How much time is left?
A month. But you know your father's condition. That man even sent 2 servants today. Said they're picking him up tomorrow to carve the jade. He said the jade piece is too expensive, and our shop isn't big enough or safe enough. As for the design, we'll only know when we get there.
Victor Stone. I know this man.
How can I possibly ask him for a favor now?
I'll go to the Stone family now and ask if Miss Stonewell can carve the jade instead. However, Victor and I aren't that close. I've heard he can be arrogant and wild. I am not sure. If I can be of much help, let's go.
Hurry up. Go with Mr. Charles. Thank you so much, Charles. Come over for dinner sometime.
Miss Stonewell.
I fell asleep. Why didn't you wake me up?
It seems, Miss Stonewell, you didn't rest well last night. Is it about Edward that made you sad?
Men taking concubines is simply a common thing. I didn't take it to heart.
If it were me, I'd never take concubines. For my whole life, I'd commit to only one.
Mr. Charles, we're at the Stone residence.
Wait here for a moment.
How did it go?
Miss Stonewell, Victor agreed to let you do the carving. However, the jade is too precious. He hopes you can carve it at his place. Time is tight. He hopes you can stay at his house. That way, you can also carve at night.
But...
I told him about that too. Miss Stonewell is a married woman and can't stay out overnight. After much discussion, Victor agreed to do me a favor and move the jade to my house. Other than that, he won't compromise at all. What do you think, Miss Stonewell? If you agree to this arrangement, take a look at the design.
But this design is complex. Even if I work day and night, it'll take at least a month to barely finish it. Moreover, Mr. Shaw, I am a married woman. Staying overnight at your place and staying at the Stones, is there any difference?
I know nothing of jade carving, so I didn't understand. I just thought you'd only come during the day. How about this? You can write Edward a letter, explaining all this. Have him leave the academy, and stay with you at my house.
Seeing his honest look, he is not doing it on purpose. This is a mess my family caused. Mr. Charles is willing to help us. I should be grateful. How could I be mad?
Mr. Charles, I am sorry. Don't get me wrong. I didn't mean anything by it. Since you are willing to lend a hand, I am truly beyond grateful.
My lady, the letter has been delivered, but they said, these past few days, Mr. Edward hasn't been around. I kept asking, but no one would tell me where he went. What should we do?
Did you leave the letter?
Yes, I did.
I see. Mr. Charles, in your residence are there any other women?
No. I've said it before. In this life I will only love one person. So, there is no such thing as what you are thinking, like maids or concubines.
I am asking this just because I think, without women in the house, my working here would be inappropriate.
I have a grannies currently in Riverside City. She is the daughter-in-law of the magistrate. Her last name is Penny, at the housewarming banquet. You must have met her, right?
Yes, I have. Mrs. Penny is your grannies.
Yes. I'll send a message to have her come stay for a few days.
Then, thank you, Mr. Charles.
Miss Stonewell, quick, come with me to check on Mr. Charles.
Him? What happened to him?
Mr. Charles was out socializing and got really drunk. He threw up and feels dizzy, but won't let anyone near. The maids made hangover soup, but he refuses to drink it. He and your husband are good friends, so maybe he'll listen to what you say. Please come with me to check on him. I feel like Mr. Charles might have thought of something sad. He is in a bad mood. Miss Stonewell. Miss Stonewell.
Mr. Charles, have you sobered up?
You are here. Charlie.
Charlie. Who is Charlie? Is she the one he loves?
You are drunk. I am not your Charlie. Drink this hangover cure.
Charlie, don't go.
Mr. Charles, you are drunk. I am not Charlie.
Charlie!
Charles Shaw, sober up. I am not Charlie.
Charlie, don't go. Don't go. Charlie.
Charles Shaw, snap out of it. I am not Charlie. I am Helen Stonewell.
Mr. Charles, do you need my help?
Get out!
Helen. Your hair, why is it so messy? Maggie, tomorrow, go to the pharmacy and buy me some herbs to keep me awake. Boil them for me.
Did that stone guy shorten the deadline again?
Staying at someone else's house is just too inconvenient. I should finish the work and head back early to avoid any gossip. Besides, if my reputation is ruined, I am afraid no one will ever hire me to carve jade again.
Okay, then tomorrow, I'll go and get you the best herbs.
Can I help you, Mr. Charles?
Why so careless? I'll get the medicine kit.
There is no need. When carving jade, getting hurt is normal. Mr. Charles, if there is anything, just say it.
Last night, I had a few too many, and got a bit drunk. I heard you brought me hangover soup. I don't know if I acted out and offended you.
Number, I brought you the hangover soup, and you fell asleep right after.
But why does half of my face hurt so much?
You probably fell. I wouldn't know.
I see.
Mr. Charles, if there is nothing else, please leave. I still want to finish this jade carving quickly.
One more thing. I asked around. Edward has been at the Red Lantern House.
Red Lantern House. He is with Lydia Hurst.
Should I send someone to bring him back?
No need. My priority right now is to get this jade carving finished quickly. As for the rest, it is a family matter between Edward and me. I don't want to trouble you with it, Mr. Charles. If Lydia joins the family, my mother-in-law will refuse. Then I'll be caught between Lydia, Edward, and my mother-in-law. It would be a living hell.
The guards watching Miss Stonewall have reported back. Mrs. Layton believes in fate. The fortune teller said Helen can protect Edward. Even though they want a divorce, she won't allow it. She said if they divorce, she will cause a huge scene at Stonewall Jewelers.
If fate truly exists, then Helen's destiny is to marry.
Excellent! Truly excellent! With the spirit of jade, it looks so alive.
When Helen carves jade, she has such an exquisite heart.
Are you satisfied, Mr. Stone?
Satisfied. Very satisfied.
Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Miss Helen, bad news. Mr. Edward is unconscious.
What did you say?
I don't know why, but after Lydia brought him back, he was already in a coma. Right now, they've invited all the doctors they could find to the house. And now, Madame Layton asked me to call you over.
Quentin.
Yes.
Escort Helen back.
Mr. Charles, she is just a woman. If you want her, take her. Why go through so much trouble?
I will marry her properly, with a grand wedding, and make her my wife.
How did this happen?
Where have you been all these days? You left Edward with this woman. How could he get better? Somebody, drag this woman out of here.
That is all my fault. Edward tried to save me. That is why he got sick. I beg you, please let me stay. If anything bad happens to Edward, I don't want to live either.
Did he get caught in the rain?
Yes. A few days ago, Edward tried to buy my freedom, But the Red Lantern House refused. They made him wait outside. It rained, and he got soaked.
How dare you seduce my son! How dare you seduce my son!
You should prepare for the worst.
Prepare for what?
My skills are limited. If you can find a better doctor, or powerful nobles, often possess life-saving elixirs that might save his life.
Nobles Charles Shaw! Charles Shaw must have some life-saving elixirs! Miss Stonewell! If you ask Mr. Charles, he will definitely save Edward's life. I beg you, Miss Stonewell! Please, Miss Stonewell!
Why are you just standing there? Go find the medicine for Edward!
Dr. Leaf, could you be more specific? What exactly is this miracle cure?
My skills are limited. If you can seek out a master physician in Capital City and obtain the palace's life-saving medicine, there might be a sliver of hope.
Why is my life so miserable? They were fine at birth. A pair of twins. The eldest drowned. And now Edward is dying. Oh, heavens. Why couldn't you take my life instead of Edward's? I told you to bring Edward back home, but you had to leave him with this tramp. My poor son! He married a wife who doesn't care about his life at all.
I happen to know someone in Capital City who specializes in bone ailments. A master physician. He might be able to help young Master Sunfield make a full recovery.
Charles Shaw, he might actually have a way to cure Edward. I'll go ask for his help. He'll definitely be fine. He will be fine.
Mr. Charles promised me that if I can get Helen to divorce Edward, he would help me destroy my slave record at the Red Lantern House. Then I will regain my freedom.
Mother, if I can save Edward's life, will you allow Edward and me to divorce?
Edward is dying! And you, at a time like this, take advantage, asking for a divorce? Are you even human? What married woman shows her face to do business? You've carved Jade all year. Has Edward ever said a bad word about you? He treated you so well, and this is how you repay him?
Edward only has Lydia in his heart. You didn't know, did you? Edward and I have been married a year, but all this time he hasn't touched me once. Even now I am still a virgin. Edward is your own flesh and blood. Would you really watch him lose the one he loves and regret it forever?
Mother! Edward and I are truly in love. Please accept us. Even if I have to be a concubine, I still want to be with him for the rest of my life.
I will never agree to this divorce. I want to see what your heart is truly made of. To just let him die.
Miss Stonewell, Mr. Charles isn't someone you can just see any time. He is very busy. He is not home today.
Then when will Mr. Charles be back?
How would a servant know his whereabouts?
Sorry to bother you.
Did Julia Layton really say she refuses the divorce?
Yes, sir. Miss Stonewell is too kind. She finally gave in.
She really isn't the type to leave someone to die. Married for a year, but never consummated. Then I'll help her out. I'll play the bad guy to free her from this marriage once and for all.
Miss Stonewell, Mr. Charles isn't back yet.
Is Mr. Charles coming back today?
Well, I wouldn't know about that.
That is strange.
Edward Layton has been in a coma for 3 days. Charles Shaw knows this, but he just ignores it.
I told you. Mr. Charles isn't here today.
Then I'll kneel right here. When Mr. Charles returns, I'll finally get up.
Suit yourself then.
Help! Over there! Stop!
Are you okay?
The Layton's second son is just unconscious. If a girl marries him, to bring some good luck, he'll wake right up. His family runs an academy, and yours is in business. Isn't she marrying up?
Easy for you to say. Why not marry off your own daughter?
My daughter doesn't bring him luck, so the Laytons passed on her. This time, the Laytons have actually offered their entire fortune as the bride price.
A drop of kindness must be repaid 100-fold. Edward Layton saved my life back then. Today, if I can bring him luck by marrying him, it'll be my way of repaying the debt of gratitude I owe him.
Get out!
Mr. Stonewell.
Get out!
Dad, I'll marry him.
Dad, haven't you always wanted to expand the jade shop? You can take the bride price. If you feel you owe me, then pass down our family's secret jade carving manual. Teach it to me.
Helen, are you crazy? This is your marriage? Do you even know what this means?
I know, but Edward Layton is a gentleman. His character is exceptional. I won't be wronged. If unfortunately, he passes away, I will gladly be his widow forever. I don't seek true love for a lifetime. I just want my jade carving to reach the peak.
Miss Stonewell is still kowtowing outside. She even got slapped. Her face is badly swollen. Now she is kowtowing again. It is still raining outside. I don't know if Miss Stonewell in her current state can hold up.
Who slapped her?
Mrs. Julia Layton.
Come in.
Mr. Charles, what do you want?
I want you. I am not into having affairs, and I won't be someone's side piece. I want you to divorce Edward Layton and be with me. This medicine, apply it once or twice, and it'll heal perfectly.
Before, when he helped my family out, I thought he was like Edward, a true gentleman. To think he would use Edward's life to blackmail me into being with him. Even though I once had feelings for him, right now, I only hope that he gets sick of me and bored. So he'll let me go soon.
What? Can't let Edward go. Don't want a divorce. Did Edward ever even care about you?
You are overthinking, Mr. Charles. Since I've promised you, I won't go back on my word. It is just that the Laytons won't agree to the divorce.
I'll handle the Laytons.
My son!
Could it be am I too late? Is Edward gone?
Helen, just how much do you love Edward? Even if he doesn't care about you, do you still worry about him this much?
The medicine. Charles Shaw. You want me, don't you? I agree. After it is done, give me the medicine immediately.
All right. I want you right now. I just don't get it. If Edward truly cared for you at all, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Why do so much for him?
If it weren't for Edward, when I was 11, I would have been trafficked. I probably would have died somewhere else by now. He saved my life. No matter how I repay him, it is never too much.
Helen came to me for medicine. This medicine was made by the late head of the Royal Infirmary. It can bring the dying back to life. Once you take it, you will mostly recover. In exchange, I want you to divorce Helen.
If she wants a divorce, I would agree to it. But using medicine as a threat, this medicine, I refuse it.
Edward! Agree to it! You must agree. Why can't you divorce? Do it right now. Write it, Edward.
I've already told you. Please listen.
Your life comes first.
Just write it. If it weren't for your illness, your mother wouldn't let me go so easily.
Fine.
I finally helped her break free. But from now on, in her eyes, I am just a ruthless guy who uses any means necessary. Whatever. The process doesn't matter. What matters is that she will stay by my side from now on. What are you doing? You should ask her what exactly she did. From now on, Helen is mine. No one can lay a single finger on it. Edward never had feelings for you. Now you are divorced. Why are you crying?
At the Laytons, Mrs. Julia Layton, to protect her son, always made things hard for me. And here with you, to satisfy your selfish desires, you humiliate me. No matter where I am, what is the difference?
You were the one who wanted a divorce. Now I've given you a helping hand, yet you compare me to that shrew.
You kept saying Edward is your brother. But how do you treat him? You really don't care about anyone. All you care about is your own selfish desire.
Fine. I am taking you right now to satisfy my selfish desires.
No, at least not here.
Why not? You are mine. I'll do it wherever I want.
Don't. Then hurry up. My whole life, I planned for my future, step by step. I knew exactly how Edward was. I knew my dad needed that bride price money. I thought marrying into the Laytons to learn jade carving would give me a chance to open my own shop. But now, that dream is getting further and further away.
Mr. Charles, Helen is sick.
Then go get a doctor. I am not a doctor.
Yes, sir.
Come back. Did she ask for me?
Miss Stonewell passed out. Her little maid is panicking. So I came to ask you.
Passed out? Why didn't you say so? Doctor, how is she?
This young lady seems to have recently caught a severe chill, coupled with overwork and emotional distress. The illness has reached her lungs. I'll prescribe some medicine. She just needs careful nursing.
Thank you.
Charles.
Is she calling me?
Charles.
So, she is seeking my affection. You are awake.
Last night, the two of us. Did you?
Last night, you had a high fever and passed out. The doctor came by and said the chill is in your bones. So, it'll take time to recover. When you were unconscious, you were unresponsive, just like a corpse. I don't have that kind of fetish.
Thank you.
You've slept for so long. Had enough sleep. Since you are rested, shouldn't it be my turn now?
If you want to sleep, then just go to sleep.
What? Backing out?
Since I already made a promise, I won't back out. It is just that. I just recovered. And I am all covered in sweat. How about I go take a bath and change, then come back?
But yesterday when you were passed out, you snuggled into my arms and wouldn't let go. You kept calling for Charles Shaw. I had no idea. You actually had such wild thoughts about me. Am I really that disgusting to you?
Helen, your complexion looks much better now. When you were unconscious, it was Mr. Charles giving you medicine and acupuncture. He stayed by your side, never leaving you. He used the medicine to force you to be his. Although it was despicable, it seems his feelings for you are real. In a few days, I'll go back to the Stonewells and bring over the things you packed. How does that sound?
I don't want to carve jade anymore. We worked so hard just to make a living. But it is nothing compared to a few words from the elites. It is pointless.
Helen, if you feel you can't stay here, we can leave right now.
Edward, did he take his medicine?
The Leighton residents sent word, saying Mr. Edward has fully recovered.
That is good. Then, I owe him nothing anymore.
Miss Stonewell, Mr. Charles asked you to go to the front door now.
Is it because the other day I looked at him with such disgust that he has now decided to kick me out? Did he say what it is about?
I don't know.
Where are you going?
Didn't you ask me to come?
Leave here and go where? Back to the Leightons. Go back. When did I ever say you could leave? I have business to attend to. You'll see me off here.
Then, I wish Mr. Charles a safe trip.
I want you to stand here and see me off. Wait until I reach the end, completely out of sight, before you go back inside.
Miss Stonewell watched you leave before going back inside.
Did she keep looking back, reluctant to let me go?
Well, I didn't look that closely.
Useless. Don't touch me!
Charlie.
What is wrong?
Miss Stonewell, you are finally here. Mr. Charles had a bit to drink tonight. He can barely stand right now, but he won't let anyone touch him. Please, Miss Stonewell, help him back inside.
Okay, I'll take him back.
Charlie. Charlie.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, Charlie.
I am not Charlie.
You are Charlie.
Charles Shaw. I am not Charlie.
You are Charlie.
Charles Shaw. I am not Charlie.
Throw up if you need to. When you are done, I'll kiss you again.
I am fully recovered now. I can't throw up anymore. Charles Shaw. Not here. Go back.
It hurts.
What is wrong? I just gave you a gentle push. How could it hurt?
Charlie.
Edward Layton is coming today. Tonight you should prepare some delicious food to entertain him.
What did you say?
Edward. Mr. Charles. I still haven't thanked you, Edward, for letting Helen and me be together. Today, Helen's specially prepared a feast, just for you. Let's drink and chat.
You and I have no reason to see each other. I am here to see her.
You were the one who stood up for Lydia Hurst. I didn't see you then, caring about your own wife. When you were in a coma, she begged for medicine and gave herself to another. And now, why do you want to see her?
To deliver an invitation.
Edward.
I am sorry. I just wanted a divorce. I never meant to hurt you this much.
You didn't take it.
You love your freedom so much. I didn't want to clip your wings. I didn't want to owe you anything.
I wouldn't exactly say you owe me. After all, you did save my life once.
You still remember.
I thought you'd forgotten.
In that case, your sentiment, I'll accept it. From now on, we owe each other nothing. But over the past year of marriage, for me and for this family, you've sacrificed so much. Please keep this money.
I can't accept this. On our wedding day, your family already paid the bride price.
Since you were young, you've wanted to have your own gemsmith shop. If it weren't for my illness holding you back, because of me, you've drifted further and further from your dream. This money, you must take it.
If I take it, under the same roof, I might still have a say. You're always like this. You hold yourself to a gentleman's standard. But you expect others to do the same. You love Lydia so very deeply, but she...
As long as I am willing.
Right. I was out of line.
When I marry her, there is no need for you to attend. I only hope that we never meet again.
In the end, am I the one who trapped Helen?
Charles Shaw, you managed to take her, so treat her right. Don't make her suffer. Or else, even if I give my life to you, I will take Helen right back.
You are not related to Helen. You are neither her elder nor her junior. What gives you the right to stand up for her here? With your weak body, even with miracle drugs, you won't outlive me. Edward, you'd better take care of yourself. That way, you can live a decent life. And watch Charlie have a big family.
Who is Charlie?
By Charlie, of course, I am not like you. If I love someone, it is for a lifetime. She is the only one. I'd never marry anyone else, and I'd never let her leave me.
I am Charlie.
Since you've been with me, you stopped carving jade.
I lost interest.
Could you do it for me and carve a jade statue?
Sure. What kind do you want?
Carve me a statue of us, as royalty.
Okay. And then?
And then I'll open up a gemsmith shop for you.
A gemsmith's shop?
I want you to make clothes for me. I want you to look at me every day. I want you to hold me in your heart. I want you to bear my children. But more than that, I want you to only do the things you love doing.
Given our difference in status, we shouldn't discuss this. We've been together for a while. You got your pleasure, and I repaid you. Let's leave it at that. All right.
No!
Charles, Shaw! Charles Shaw, you ask so much of me. Now, I am only asking you for one thing. Either don't give me the jade, or don't destroy it.
I didn't mean to. From now on, I won't break things. If you want it, I can give you more. Just ask.
Mr. Charles! There is trouble outside the city!
Just ask for whatever you want. I'll give you everything I can.
Mr. Charles!
You use your power to keep me by your side. When you marry someday, will your wife tolerate me? Did you really not think of this? Or do you just not care?
Helen, there is a riot outside the city. Refugees and bandits are robbing merchant carts. The officials went to the mountains to catch them. Mr. Stonewell and Kevin went out for supplies and still haven't returned.
What?
After Mrs. Stonewell found out, she went to the authorities. She wanted to come here to find you,
but someone bumped into her on the way. She sprained her ankle and couldn't come.
Grind the ink.
Are you asking Mr. Charles to help look into this? He is with the Dragon Guard, the new commander, and the garrison outside is his Shaw's regiment. He'll definitely have a way.
Given the current situation, how can I even ask him? Mother is home alone. I want to stay with her, so she doesn't worry. But as things stand, if I am going back...
My lady, this letter isn't it a bit too short?
Short?
In the past, when Mr. Edward was still home, if you wrote about family matters, you'd write 2 or 3 pages. But now, your letter to Mr. Charles isn't even half a page.
We just won a battle, but we can't let our guard down. Increase patrols. Use falcons for tracking.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Charles, a letter from home.
She asked me if I got hurt. Do I look like I am hurt right now? You do. That is good. She said her mother's home alone. Looks like her father and brother are out of town and haven't returned. Go find out if the merchants held by the bandits include anyone from Stonewall Jewelers. Yes, sir.
Mom, right now, you just need to focus on recovering. Charles took Shaw's regiment to deal with the bandits outside the city. Don't worry. He'll definitely bring Dad and my brother back safely.
Now that you are with Charles, you need to make it work. He is such a handsome man. You need to capture his heart. Otherwise, with his status, in the future...
I know, Mom. Charles is so handsome. I will definitely love him. All right. About my matters, you don't need to worry.
I am so handsome. I really should have bathed and perfumed myself first.
Charles is here.
What happened to you?
It is nothing. Fought some bandits. Got a little banged up.
I'll go get a doctor.
I got your letter. I know your family's in trouble. Came straight here after a fight. I've sent men to look for your dad and your brother. Don't worry.
Thank you. But we're out of medicine here. You look pretty badly hurt. I should really go get a doctor for you.
I have medicine. It is just that recently I haven't bathed. I feel terrible.
I'll go tell my mom then. Let's go to your place.
Your mom is still sick, and there is still no news of your dad and brother. You should stay with her. I can just use your tub.
These are my dad's clothes. If you don't like them, I'll have Maggie get a new set.
Did you make them yourself?
Yes.
Great. I'll just wear this.
Could you help me take a look at my wound?
Your wound seems to have reopened.
Could you wipe it for me?
Okay.
Ouch. Be gentle.
You are blushing.
We've been warriors for generations. We always bathe and dress ourselves. My great-grandfather said a true man, who needs others to serve him, could never survive on the battlefield.
Then, from now on, let me take care of this for you.
I'll wait another 2 months for you. On New Year's Eve. I want you to be completely mine.
Mm-hmm.
Not deep. No need. This bed. Did you use it before?
Yeah. Tonight, you can just rest here.
Okay. Can you stay with me?
I'll go over there to keep you company.
Greetings, Nanny Woods.
Mr. Charles and my lady, Princess Joanna, are marrying soon. Princess Joanna meant to come to Riverside to see Mr. Charles. But with the New Year banquet, she couldn't miss it, so she sent me here instead to deliver all of her regards to him in person. But where is Mr. Charles?
Mr. Charles is leading troops outside the city. Please, Nanny Woods, stay at our residence for a few days. Send someone to bring him back. But there are currently bandits causing trouble outside.
My princess is the apple of the eyes of her ladyship and his majesty. She is highly favored, since they are engaged now. What is more important, can't your master tell?
Yes, I will send someone to fetch him right away.
Mr. Charles, we have news about Mr. Stonewell and Kevin. We've located them. This morning, I already sent men to pick them up. They should be here by tomorrow.
We're so lucky to have Charles here.
Mr. Charles, there is one more thing.
You really need to find a way to win Charles's heart. With him as our son-in-law, the Stonewell family will finally have a solid footing in Riverside City.
Mom, when it comes to his marriage, Charles doesn't even have a say. Just take whatever help he gives. And please don't bring up such nonsense with him again. Him leaving Riverside City and leaving me behind is only a matter of time.
We're the ones holding you back. We couldn't give you a good background.
Please don't say that. Let's just focus on running our shop well. The life we have now compared to before. Isn't it much better? Let's eat.
Okay.
Mr. Charles, they brought New Year's gifts from High Court. They're from the princess's estate.
The princess's estate?
I inquired. Your grandmother has arranged your marriage to Princess Joanna. The princess's estate sent a nanny here, with 3 carts of goods.
If Helen finds out about the princess and me being involved like this, I wonder how she will react.
Later, in a moment. Right in front of Helen. Say it again.
Mr. Charles, someone from the princess's estate has brought you New Year's gifts. The nanny sent by the princess is still in the residence waiting to see you.
The princess? I used to think princesses were only in plays. I never thought I'd see with my own eyes today. Her estate's sending you gifts.
Since they're from the princess's estate, I should go see them. We mustn't be rude.
When Mr. Charles was in High Court, his clothes and accessories were all luxurious. Why is he wearing plain clothes that lower his status? But looking at his handsome and elegant face, it couldn't be anyone else.
Greetings, sir.
Greetings, Nanny. Please rise.
Her Highness cares for you deeply. She worried that in Riverside, you might be lacking some necessities. Among the gifts brought, there are some jewelry pieces for women. She thought if Mr. Charles had any maids serving him, they could be rewarded for taking care of you.
That is very thoughtful of Her Highness.
Does Charles really have other women in this house?
Nanny Woods, does the princess have other orders?
The princess said, once you two are married, those other women of yours will be given some gold and jade and sent away.
Her Highness is right.
I won't disturb your rest. I'll take my leave now.
Quentin, go find some lovely ladies to fill up my backyard.
Mr. Charles, consider it done.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Shaw?
Meaning of what? Mr. Charles has always been like this.
Does Mr. Charles really have so many women? Back in High Court, he was so well behaved. Why is it that in Riverside he acts like this? Right now, he and Her Highness are engaged as the future royal consort. This behavior is unacceptable. I haven't been able to see Mr. Charles to advise him. Just tell me, when can I see him?
Mr. Charles's affairs aren't for a servant like me to comment on.
You!
Helen, Mr. Charles is already engaged. His fiancée is Her Highness.
Or why else would Her Highness send her nanny over? To deliver a New Year's gift before the holidays.
Helen, you knew already. Then what are you going to do next?
Maggie, go and buy me a bowl of herbal tonic soup.
Tonic soup?
Tonight is New Year's Eve. A few days ago, he said that on New Year's Eve. I am afraid it won't be an easy night, Maggie. You better go now. The shops will be closed if it is too late.
Okay.
Mr. Charles, Miss Stonewell is looking for you.
What is it?
Why did Mr. Charles bully Helen like this?
They set up a stage in the garden tonight. There's a girl from the theater. Let's go. Let's go check it out. Come on, let's go.
I've wanted to make you mine since the first time I saw you.
Victor Shaw, you'd better find a doctor soon to help you condition your body. Please.
What? Last night? Didn't you enjoy it?
Can Maggie come in? I want to freshen up.
I got carried away last night.
Prepare hot water.
Last night, I heard you from outside, crying out for so long. I really wanted to kick the door down. How could Mr. Charles treat you so roughly? My lady, there's something under the pillow.
What is this? Payment for the night.
My lady, is this from Mr. Charles as your New Year's money? It is 1,000 taels.
Don't talk nonsense. Maggie, for you and Jenny, I also prepared New Year's money. It is right over there. When you get it, remember to give Jenny hers.
My lady, I also got New Year's money from Mr. Charles. Butler Shaw said every spring festival, the Shaw family gives out red envelopes. Since yours is in a red envelope, it is definitely New Year's money. Would you like something to eat, my lady?
Maggie, did Jenny prepare a contraceptive potion for me? Or did you forget to bring it?
Mr. Charles gave no such orders, but my lady, why do you want that potion? Back at the Layton family. In order to have a baby, didn't you drink a lot of potions?
Go get Jenny. Maybe she forgot to tell you.
Right away.
Come in.
Mr. Charles.
What is it?
Miss Stonewell just asked me for a contraceptive potion.
If she asks you, just give it to her. Why come to me?
But, sir, where do I get this medicine?
In our storehouse, we should have some ginseng and bird's nest, and cordyceps. Whatever she wants to drink, just brew it for her.
Understood, sir.
Mr. Charles actually wants Miss Stonewell to have a baby.
Wait. Do we have any candied fruit?
For the new year, the kitchen always keeps them in stock.
Bring some dried apricots. Did you ask Jenny for a contraceptive potion?
Yes.
There is no such potion. Only women in brothels use such harsh things. Taking it long term will harm your body. You might never have kids again.
How so? Then the ladies in Capital City, how do they prevent pregnancy?
Why prevent it? Just have the baby. Don't you want kids?
You only said you liked me at first. You never said you wanted kids.
I want you. A child you give birth to is your child. Why wouldn't I want that?
But I don't want your child.
Why? My child is also your child. You don't want him.
Wanting a child is one thing, but with no status at all, how can I have a child? Charles, I don't want to have a child with you.
Even if it means drinking the Baron brew that courtesans drink.
Yes.
Fine. Drink it if you must. Who am I to stop you anyway?
My lady, the medicine you asked for is freshly brewed. It is still a bit hot.
You have one last chance to reconsider. How does it taste?
Not bad. It is not bitter. Thank you. I am a bit tired. I'd like to.
It was a long night yesterday. Get some rest. What did you brew for her?
It is ginseng tea. I added angelica and milkwort, plus longan and rock sugar. It nourishes the blood. I was in a rush today. Later on, I'll ask a doctor if there are any tonics to help condition her body.
You should know what to say and what not to say.
I understand.
You don't want my child, but I'll make you have it.
Mr. Charles, it is the first day of the new year. Where are we going?
The red light district. The entertainment houses. Any pleasure house will do. I want to see how other men do it.
They'll call the tea house. The girls here have been carefully trained since childhood. They know what men want and how to serve. Which one do you want, Mr. Charles?
Mr. Charles, save me!
Since you got your wish to leave the Red Lantern House, you should know that you and I have no ties at all. Since Edward Layton is willing to marry you, why are you here?
My heart has never once belonged to Edward. My whole heart is with you, Mr. Charles. Everything you asked of me, I've done it all. If I have to marry Edward now, my whole life will truly be ruined. Mr. Charles, I am willing to stay by your side as a maid.
If you don't know your own place, should I have someone remind you? Quint. Sir. Miss Hurst must be missing her days at the Red Lantern House. Send her back. Wait. Maybe the Red Lantern House won't take you back. How about staying here as a hostess? Maybe one day. Some playboy will fancy you, giving you another chance to marry rich.
No, please, no, I'll marry Edward Layton. I will marry him.
What kind of taste does Edward Layton have?
Nothing serious, but regarding intimate matters, you must be more careful. There can be no more of this lack of restraint. The fever is caused by a deficiency of yin. Before Miss Helen's next monthly cycle, intimacy should be avoided. She needs proper nourishment to recover. I've written a prescription. Brew it for her to drink shortly. Here is some ointment as well. Examine her body, and if there are any wounds, just apply it.
Thank you, Royal Physician.
These past days, all these flirty women here, I've warned them all. But I haven't seen this maid. Is there another woman hidden away? Stop! Which lady lives in this courtyard? Her Highness ordered me to meet Mr. Charles's women. I didn't know one was living here.
My lady is asleep. She can't see anyone.
I've been at the princess's estate for years, and I've never been stopped like this. Since Mr. Charles isn't back yet, as Her Highness's wet nurse, showing concern on her behalf for the future consort's people is perfectly normal. Step aside.
Helen!
To think Riverside City has such an ethereal beauty, quite a surprise.
Maggie.
May I ask who you are?
I am a jade carver.
I have some private ties with Mr. Charles.
Is that so? This courtyard, judging by its layout, is meant for a proper lady. It hardly seems suitable for you to stay here.
Moving here in the first place was Charles Shaw's arrangement. Now that his fiancée's nanny is saying this, I might as well use her as an excuse to leave. That way, I won't be breaking my promise. Then, I'll pack up and leave.
Where are you moving to? Nanny Woods, you are here too. Is something the matter? Where are you going?
This place isn't suitable for me, so naturally, I am going to a place that is suitable.
Then, move to my place. You are not feeling well. You shouldn't speak too much. We're moving right now.
Mr. Charles, I am here on behalf of the princess to have a look. You.
I didn't expect the princess to have such a leisurely mood. First warning my many concubines, and now sending you over to drive my people away.
Her Highness would never do such a thing. It is just that I feel bad for her, with her status being so noble. After you marry, she wouldn't like it if you had all these other women around. So I couldn't help but speak up.
No need to trouble yourself then. Whether this marriage happens remains to be seen. How about you head back to Capital City now and report to the princess about how in Riverside City I am so debauched. Tell you what, tomorrow I'll send extra guards to escort you back.
Charles Shaw! You've gone too far. Our lady is none other than the noble Princess Joanna. Yo.
You want to use that old hag to leave me. Charlie, don't even think about it.
If you want to warn the princess's nanny, why use me as an excuse? When she marries you, she'll still come after me.
I am not Edward Layton, that useless man who can't even control his own woman. Come in. What did the doctor say?
He has already prescribed medicine for her. He said she needs to be more restrained, and before her next period, she shouldn't be intimate. She needs to take good care of herself. The doctor also left some ointment, saying it should be applied to her wound.
Let me do it.
I can do it myself.
You can't see it.
But I didn't bathe today. Besides, my body can't take it anymore.
I am not a beast. Last night wasn't on purpose. It is just that. I don't have much experience.
Are you saying you are?
Stop asking. Lie down.
Try some.
Kevin, what are you?
I wonder, Mr. Charles, when will you marry my sister?
Kevin, what are you saying? Have some tea.
I don't want it. I just saw at his estate that there are many flirtatious women. They must be his mistresses. He definitely bullied you, sister.
Kevin. Mr. Charles, Helen has been living there for a while. For a Riverside girl to have no proper title, while with you, is just not appropriate. Though Helen was married before, she is of good character. I wonder, what are your thoughts?
That depends on whether Helen is willing to marry me. Are you willing to marry me?
No.
You really won't even lie to me. Lately, many concubines came to the estate, and you weren't even jealous.
You are now an engaged man. Saying such things is quite inappropriate.
So you care about Princess Joanna. What if the engagement is cancelled?
Even if it is cancelled, look at your status. I will never be a concubine. If you get tired of me one day, after I leave the Shaw residence, my only wish is to find someone who truly loves me and marry him.
You are not willing. Neither am I.
Oh, Miss Helen, Mr. Charles hasn't been here in a while. Is he really not coming back?
That is for the best.
I was at the garrison these past few days. There was an emergency in the army that I had to handle. Here, keep it.
I don't want it.
My marriage to the princess has been called off. I know you don't want to marry me. Then let's just keep things the way they are. I won't marry anyone. And don't you think about leaving me. I'm so tired today. I'm so tired today. I don't want to fight with you. Just show me some sympathy, okay?
This jade pendant, I don't know its meaning, but a hairpin is a token of love and proposal. Charles is being so vague, saying absolutely nothing. Yet, he tells me to keep this. How on earth does this make any sense?
You look in great spirits today. Mr. Charles must treat you well. This is from Mr. Charles, right? I heard every Shaw heir, from birth, receives a black jade pendant with a chilin. Later on, they will give it to their chosen lady. I didn't expect Mr. Charles to give it to you.
When he gave it to me, he didn't mention it.
It is a token, after all. Just accept it. Go take a look at my nephew. He is so adorable. I need to go greet the guests today. It is his full month party, so it is a bit busy. Take good care of yourself. I just saw Lydia Hurst and Edward Layton. They look so good together. Such a perfect match. You should really move on and stay with Mr. Charles. I'll go get busy now.
Hearing that Edward and Lydia are so happy together, why are you upset?
Put this on for me. How did you break off the engagement to Princess Joanna? Tell me about it.
Okay.
I want to visit the Stonewells tomorrow. Will you come with me?
Sure. I'll prepare some gifts, and when we get there, I'll talk to your parents about our marriage.
Mr. Charles! A letter from the camp.
Helen, I have to head back to camp. I'll be out of Riverside for 2 days. When you go home, pick out some gifts from the storehouse. Once I am back, I'll pay them a proper visit. Okay. Let's go.
Miss Stonewell, I won't be going in there with you.
Thank you.
Wow. My lady, Mr. Charles has so many treasures here.
Wonderful! Truly wonderful! With the spirit of jade, it looks like it is alive!
Miss Stonewell carves jade with an ingenious mind.
Are you satisfied, Mr. Stone?
My lady, isn't this... The jade carving Mr. Stone made you rush overnight? You even made it in the Shaw residence. How come it is? Sitting right here, in Mr. Charles's storehouse.
Thank you for your generosity, Mr. Sunfield. Please accept this small gift from the Stonewells.
We'll be taking our leave now.
My lady, isn't this the apology gift from Mr. Sunfield? Why is it here too?
Back then, Kevin broke the leg of Mr. Sunfield's young son.
Mr. Stone made you finish in a month. The 8 Immortals jade carving. Could it be Mr. Charles is behind all this?
Maybe this was all his scheme. Why didn't he appear earlier or later? Why did he show up right when we went to his residence for the housewarming banquet?
What if all of this was Mr. Charles's scheme? Then back when Mr. Edward was humiliated at the Red Lantern House and fell unconscious, could that be his doing too? Miss Stonewell, why did you not pick anything? Did nothing catch your eye?
There were so many, I couldn't decide. I'll just wait for Charles to get back and let him pick for me.
Very well. The carriage to Stonewell Jewelers is right outside.
Second brother, without a royal edict. Why are you here?
Western and Northern invaders colluded with traitors. They attacked weeks ago. Father was badly wounded and is missing. Right now, the news is still sealed. Even in High Court City, barely anyone knows. I am here to warn you.
You want to borrow my Shaw's regiment?
Shaw's regiment suffered heavy losses. We barely held them off. To truly defeat the enemy, we need reinforcements. But deploying troops requires a royal edict. The Emperor is gravely ill and in a coma. Court affairs are entirely controlled by Lady Dao. To get the edict.
To get the edict, I must marry the princess to make Lady Dao firmly stand on our side.
Prince Henry has always coveted our family's military power. We absolutely cannot let him seize it now. Return to High Court at once, apologize to the princess, and propose.
But...
If you really love that woman, take her to High Court as a concubine. Your official wife can only be Princess Joanna.
Long time no see. How have you and Mr. Charles been doing?
Edward was humiliated in the rain. At the Red Lantern House to buy your freedom. What exactly happened?
The people at the Red Lantern House said as long as Edward was willing to kneel outside for 3 days and 3 nights, they would allow me to be redeemed and leave my lowly status behind. Edward took pity on me.
Are you sure this is really the Red Lantern House's doing? And Charles Shaw had no part in it?
Why would you think that? What does this have to do with Mr. Charles?
You'd better tell me the truth, or else I will go and tell Charles Shaw that you asked me to come today and told me that he killed Edward. If he finds out about this, what do you think he'll do to you?
You are already with Mr. Charles, and the divorce was what you wanted too, so you shouldn't ask any more about this.
Tell me the truth.
Yes, after I fell into the Red Lantern House and ended up in a foreign land. It was Mr. Charles who found me and transferred me back. He arranged for me to reunite with Edward. He said as long as I could make you and Edward divorce, he would help me buy my freedom. Only by using Edward's life could we force Mrs. Julia Layton to agree to your divorce. It was the only way we could think of.
The only way? So, because it was the only way, you could just disregard Edward's life. Lydia! Do you have a heart? Did you ever think what would happen if things went wrong and he died? Edward cares for you so much. And this is how you treat him?
If you had spent half your life in the brothel, you would know that I was already showing Edward mercy.
Helen, you've been home for days now. Why hasn't Charles sent someone for you? Mom, are you kicking me out? This is your home. You can stay here as long as you want. I am just worried about you. Did you and Charles have a fight?
Wow! Miss, Mr. Charles has so many treasures here. Isn't this the jade carving Mr. Stone had you finish overnight? It was even made at the Shaw residence. Why is it sitting here in Mr. Charles's storehouse?
You could say that. From now on, I am not going back. Why?
Helen, lately, I've been so busy. I finally got time to take you home.
Mom, go check on the food. Don't let it burn. Okay. You two talk. Whatever it is, just talk it out. I am not going back with you.
What is wrong? You've stayed for days. Still can't leave home.
I am saying, I will never go back with you.
Back then, Kevin broke young Master Sunfield's leg. Mr. Stone made you within a month. Carved the 80 Mortals jade. Could it be that all of this is tied to Mr. Charles?
Maybe. Why didn't he appear sooner or later? Why did he show up right when we went to his place for the housewarming?
If all of this was Mr. Charles's scheme, then back when Mr. Edward was shamed at the Red Lantern House and fell into a coma, could that be Mr. Charles too?
What do you mean?
I should be asking you that. My brother Kevin, how exactly did he injure Mr. Sunfield's youngest son and end up in prison?
I don't understand what you are saying.
In Victor Stone's name, you placed an order. With a huge penalty fee, you forced me to stay at your estate for over half a month. But in reality, you were the real buyer. That jade carving is still sitting in your storehouse right now, after all of these things. What else do you have to explain?
That jade carving was actually...
No need to explain anymore. All of this, I could have convinced myself to forgive you. But to make me get a divorce and stay by your side, you didn't even care if Edward Layton lived or died. For that, I will never forgive you.
Who told you all this? I never did that.
Charles Shaw, do you know what the biggest difference is between us?
Why would you rather believe other people's gossip than trust me?
The biggest difference between us. We commoners have to fight just to survive. But for nobles like you, crushing me is as easy as crushing an ant. If you think I broke our promise, then right now, on behalf of Edward Layton, I'll pay this life back to you.
Helen, my feelings for you, can't you feel them? What is so great about Edward? That you do this for him?
Charles, to you, I am. Just like this piece of jade. If you like it, you take it. If you don't, you toss it aside. Have you ever... Have you ever asked me if I wanted this? I am a person, a living, breathing person with feelings. You forced yourself on me, humiliated, and claimed me, even once, asked if I wanted this. My mind is made up. If you still insist on taking me away, then all I can give you is my dead body.
Helen. I have a heart too.
Edward knows you want to be a carver. What about me? You never want to tell me anything! You want to leave. Right, fine.
Helen. If you still want to tell me to stay with him, please don't say it. So much has happened. Why didn't you tell us? Why did you have to bear it all by yourself?
Mother has already gone to the palace and met with Lady Dow. Princess Joanna already has feelings for you. Just say a few sweet words and get engaged to her first. As for the rest, we can figure it out later.
I am heading to the border.
War isn't a game. I am a warrior. Should I stay in Capital City and marry the princess? I am going to fight the western and northern invaders. You don't have to agree. Once the edict is issued, I'll ask for troops myself.
Bad news, Helen! Mr. Edward is gone.
What did you say?
The Laytons are in mourning. Mrs. Layton is at home, crying her eyes out.
Oh, my son! Edward! 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 your fault. If you hadn't insisted on divorcing him, how could he have
Have
died
you had
so
enough?
young?
Just to let you get divorced. Edward didn't hesitate to sacrifice his own life. Are you happy now? If it wasn't for his failing health, he would have proposed long ago. But because of his illness, he feared being a burden to you. That is why he kept his feelings buried deep in his heart. Never confessing. That is also why he broke off our engagement. And because he felt he owed me, that is why when I ended up at the Red Lantern House, he bought my freedom at all costs.
How could that be?
Remember when you were young, and he saved you? Ever since then, he fell in love with you.
Help! Help! Over there! Stop!
Are you alright?
He also took 7 or 8 other girls. They're hidden in his boat. It is docked by the pier. You have to catch him.
How do you know that?
He used candied fruit to try to lure me. I refused, so he grabbed me by force. I got him to talk on the way.
I saw it happen earlier, but since I am weak, I was afraid I couldn't handle him alone. I went to find the guards. I was worried. It would take too long, but I am glad it helped.
I am not cold. You are sick. You wear it.
Where do you live? I'll walk you home.
I live at Stonewell Jewelers.
Oh, I know that place. Their jade hairpins are beautiful. I am Edward Layton. The headmaster of Eastfield Academy is Mr. Layton. He is my father. I am not a bad guy.
I am Helen Stonewell, and I am going to be a jade carver. I want to be the world's best jade carver.
Before then, I had never met anyone so full of life and radiant.
He said his happiest time was the year he was married to you, but his health was too poor. He didn't want to hold you back. So at the Shaw residence, the day he ran into me, he figured out how to divorce you. He got sick in the rain on purpose, just to make Mrs. Julia Layton think you brought him bad luck. So she'd agree to your divorce. But who would have thought Charles Shaw would suddenly interfere? Bring out that miracle cure, and force you to stay with him. This is what he left you. The leverage to trade for your freedom. You have everything. You have Charles Shaw's protection, and Edward Layton's love. What about me? Charles Shaw forced me to stay with Edward. And Edward used me to secure your freedom. I hate you all. What did I do wrong? I purposely waited until this very moment, until you lost it all, to tell you the truth. I want you to suffer forever.
Maggie, let's go to the Shaw residence.
Driver, change route to the Shaw residence.
Miss Stonewell, Mr. Charles has returned to High Court. If you get the chance, please apologize to him for me. Mr. Charles and Princess Joanna got engaged in High Court. Then congratulations to them. Miss Stonewell, after returning to the capital, he requested to lead the Riverside City troops to reinforce the border. He died in battle. What did you say?
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congrats, Miss Stonewell.
Mr. Stonewell, Miss Stonewell's craft is getting so much better. Soon she'll be taking the old shop's business.
Not at all. My sister and us are family. Family doesn't talk like outsiders.
Thanks for coming. Please take a seat. I have prepared gifts for everyone. Please, sit.
Yes, please come in.
Maggie, serve the guest tea.
Hurry up. Please, come in.
Have the guards watch Helen. Everything she does. Every single detail. You must tell me.
But isn't she Edward Layton's wife?
So, what? I am going to marry her.
Mr. Charles, I have to go.
Jade pendant. Is it spoken for? That jade pendant.
Was the very first piece I made when learning. The material is rough. It is not for sale.
But I think it is quite cute. It is won my heart. I just want this one.
Aren't you?
In this world, there is no longer the noble Charles Shaw.
Mom, the guests are all waiting for you.
You got married. What is your name?
My last name is Shaw, and my name is Skylar. My mom said. My dad's name is Charles. Skylar goes with Charles.